Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. Welcome in the kitchen. We're going to be answering an important question. Several of you have written to me and saying, how do you get those biscuits so tall? High-rise biscuits. I'm going to show you the trick. Okay, y'all, I've gone through all the steps before in multiple videos on how I make my biscuits. I'm going to put all the links that I can find for you to pick and choose what recipe you prefer, because overall I do the same thing, but I do change things up a little bit from time to time, so you can pick and choose what works for you. So I have my dough here, okay? This is not rolled out. I've just mixed everything up, got it rolling, and I've just made it in its nice little home here. It's looks like a little Smurf home. It's all ready to go, okay? So I've still got my rolling pin, and I've got my cutter. Let's talk about how to make high-rise biscuits, especially the yummy layered ones. Okay, so we all have our own ideas in terms of biscuits, how to make biscuits, the dough, whatever. But there is a trick to making them rise as well. First things first, what you're used to doing is rolling them out like a cookie, right? Like a biscuit, stamping them, getting them out, cutting them, and getting them gone. We don't do that here. Now according to this recipe, this is just 2 cups of flour. I just did the 2 cups recipe here. Depending on the size of your cutter is going to determine how many biscuits you get. How many layers you create is going to determine how many biscuits you get. A typical biscuit situation here, non-layered, you're going to get about 8 to 10 biscuits. If you have a smaller cutter, I can squeeze out a dozen. But what you're probably going to see here is in the neighborhood of 6 to 7, depending on how tall we make it. Most people roll their biscuit dough out, they cut once and they go. That's not what I do, and let me show you the trick. Okay, before we get started, I have already preheated my oven to 400. I have already preheated my favorite Lodge cast iron griddle for biscuits in the oven, and it's piping hot. So know that. So here we go. As I've said, we've got the dough ready. I'm going to give you a ton of recipes to pick and choose from. This is the basic 2-cup recipe. You can double these if you want, make more biscuits. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll this out a little bit. So we're going to show you right here. I am going to do the traditional rollout. I don't roll mine flat as a flitter. Now, I've seen my grandmothers growing up do guys, your grandmothers didn't think about all this, back in the day. They just did what they did and put it on there and you ate it. It didn't matter. Then I flop it over once. Now some people put these back in the refrigerator at this point because you just created a layer, okay? You just doubled it over. Now if I want to go 3 times with it, I do tend to come back in and I'll roll it, and I prefer the French rolling pin. I think you have better control over what you're doing. I'll roll it one more time, flop it over. Guys, then you're going to take your cutter. We can use anything that you want to cut a biscuit, but you really need a sharp edge. You don't want to seal the edge of the biscuits because you want them to rise up. So if you use something dull like a ring or even a jar, it could be more dull than if you invest in $10, $12 and get you a really nice sharp biscuit cutter. Now watch this trick. You're just going to come straight in, you're going to go straight down and come straight up. Now I'm making a big fat biscuit. Okay, that is, look how thick and tall that is already. Put it on that hot cast iron. I'm going super duper here. I'm going to make a couple of these layered big biscuits here so you can see right down here. Now, I can't touch the cast iron, you'll get burned. This is already starting to cook underneath that biscuit. Now, I'm going to come over here and make another one. Straight down, straight up. Look at that, just coming flopping on out of there. Now, what I'm going to do, for the sake of this video, and you don't want to overmix your dough and work with it too much, but I'm going to just flatten it out. Let's see, let's compare it. I need to get a little sticky. I watched my Nana, great grandmother, boy, she could make some mean biscuits. They just kind of roll them out like that and they would just boop, boop. They would just go for it. We didn't care about that, but this is if you're caring about it. So we're going to put right there. So there's really not a trick. You're literally just placing your dough instead of spreading it out. Instead of spreading it out, you're building it up. So you may want to have to think about doubling your recipe. But if you want an impressive biscuit, let's do a comparison. Okay, we're ready to go to the oven. You can see what I'm talking about, folks. You've got to help layer them up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and honey, get the butter. Let's go. All right, guys, straight out of the oven, 15 minutes at 400. Now remember to check your elevation. Remember to check if you have a convection oven or not. And do remember that your items need to be fresh. I use the same cutter. Well, this one is my dummy biscuit. That's that leftover baby right there. That don't count. But I use the same cutter. You saw me do that right there. I'm going to put a link to this quick cut cutter. They're fabulous. I'm going to order another one myself. I love it. It makes great biscuits, I'm telling you. Great. But here we go. So you're seeing right here, look at this. Now that is a biscuit. All right, guys, simple and easy, and a biscuit that your granny will be proud of. Try it out. Doesn't come overnight necessarily to be a good biscuit maker, but if you don't start and keep doing it, you're never gonna figure it out. We've given you the tools to start. Let's get the butter and the molasses. Time to eat. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.